The Red River Shootout, known by no other name. I don't mean to take the same talk track that Josh Pate has, but honestly, the Red River Shootout is the only way that I will acknowledge this, or the Red River Rivalry, the Triple R, in the Cotton Bowl. Sidebar, that is the only place it should be played. Jerry Jones, keep your hands away. Now, I'm glad they invested into the stadium. I think this is the first game that the Cotton Bowl got its renovations. I'll be curious. This is a dream game of mine to go to. The moment that I truly feel like this media stuff is going to be working out is if I ever get a media pass to this game, because of the weight and the impact. I've grown up in the state of Texas my entire life. Now, am I a Texas fan? Am I an Oklahoma fan? No. I wish both of these teams would lose, but I know the significance, and this is must-watch TV. Now, unfortunately, Texas decides they want to go lose to Florida, and now they are unranked, facing against number 6 Oklahoma, but Texas is still favored. I think it was an overcorrection by the AP poll, just because if we're power rating, you're not going to get 25 teams that are more talented than Texas, but the AP poll, I respect them to correct their mistakes because they shouldn't have been in the top 10 to begin with. I just never seen a jump like that to drop someone from the top 10 all the way out of the AP top 25. Same for Penn State. But, right or wrong, sooner or later, I guess. The conversation is going to be around John Mateer. We're going to get that out of the way because I think there's a better conversation here to dictate what's going to actually happen in this game. John Mateer, it's almost too obvious that they're trying to hide the fact that he's probably going to play. He got his thumb injury. If you have not seen the message boards of the surgeon that actually repaired his thumb, he was on message boards. God, I love college football. There's no other sport in the world where you're going to find surgeons who fixed the star quarterback's hand be on Oklahoma message boards. What are we doing? Anywho, Brent Venables has been weird about answering any questions about John Mateer. Reports are saying one day that he's most likely not going to play. Venables says he's most likely not going to play. Day later, he's going to play. You feel likely that he's going to. You see that Texas is favored by 2.5. People are saying, well, that's because John Mateer's not playing. Actually, FanDuel confirmed that's with the assumption John Mateer is playing. It'd be about 5.5 if he wasn't. And that's because they trust what Texas has. And honestly, would I really blame them? They come off of their worst performance of the year. You're expecting that talent to bounce back in some sort of fashion. I highly doubt we're going to see this Texas team drop. I think it's more likely that they get a more spirited performance, especially in this rivalry spot. But what's going to make or break this team, and really this game, more than whether or not John Mateer plays, because everyone wants to talk about the quarterbacks, it's the matchup between the Texas offense and the Oklahoma defense. Because if it's Michael Hawkins Jr. playing on the Oklahoma offense against that Texas defense that sure had a bad performance against Florida, I still think they're a talented group that could definitely get to the quarterback. It's going to be a game of, can Michael Hawkins get us 17? Could he get us maybe even 20? And then our defense basically suffocates the Texas offense, because the Texas offense right now, we're looking at 47th points per game. We're looking at 103rd and third down conversion and efficiency, 102nd and fourth down conversion and efficiency, and then they're 99th in the country in red zone efficiency. Take that, internalize, write it down, do whatever you need to, but we're going to talk about the defense for Oklahoma, who is number 2 in stopping third downs, number 10 in fourth down stoppage, and 54th in red zone conversion. That's going to make or break the game. Who's going to break the trend here? Are we going to be talking about Oklahoma and this defense just applying pressure, Arch Manning taking 6 sacks against Florida? Or are we going to be talking about maybe a bounce back? Is Texas going to be able to run the ball with Wisner back for his second week? I think that's a fair question, because I think if you're Sarkisian and you go look at how you performed against Florida, what can we do? Because right now it is short game and it's deep shots down the field. There's no intermediate game in the passing attack for Texas right now. And I almost wonder, do you try to take the ball out of Arch Manning's hands? Basically make him play almost like a Brock Purdy style of game where he's not having to make a read. He is just getting the ball out as quickly as possible, because even though you get these moments of pure brilliance on the all-22 tape, there's moments of pure brilliance from Arch Manning. There's also a sack. There's also a ball in harm's way. There's times he gets sped up. There's times that the ball is hitting on the dirt. And those happen way more than what we see the brilliance from. And so I almost feel like you try to take the ball away from him, because if you let him sit back, Venables is going to eat him alive. This defensive line is going to feast. This Texas offensive line is just not good enough. And especially the conversions on the red zone, I think, are highly critical in this game. What's going to be 3 points? What's going to be 7? And in the rare instance, what's going to be a donut when you get into the 20-yard line? Because if you are not being able to put up points in those situations, the other team's going to win. Now, I'm assuming John Mateer is more than likely going to play here. And I think John Mateer, if he plays, I feel very confident Oklahoma is going to be able to get this win. And if Michael Hawkins Jr. wins, even though I said it on TikTok where I said maybe I lean towards Texas, as I'm talking about it out loud, I still lean Oklahoma. It would have to be such a drastic switch, a drastic swing of the pendulum from Texas's offense to not only find their identity in this rivalry spot against a very good defense. It would be so drastic that it fits college football for it to happen. But I think you are going to need a Wisner masterclass, or this rushing attack. Like, you're going to need 150 yards on the ground, maybe even 200. I don't see them airing it out against an Oklahoma defense that A, is going to be able to get to the quarterback at a very high level, but even then, make Arch think. It's going to be Venables, man. I've seen this guy drop a linebacker into a deep third coverage, bring both safeties down, and it put Jalen Milroe through a loop. I really do believe in this defense for Oklahoma. And if we want to flip it and you say, well, what's going to be the matchup between Oklahoma's offense? Well, we really don't know what we're going to get from Oklahoma's offense against the Texas defense. But what I do trust is more than likely Oklahoma's going to at least get to 17, 20, regardless of the quarterback, especially if it's Mateer. I feel way more confident in that. I don't know what I'm going to get with Texas. I have no clue. And what's arguably a more difficult matchup. I really do think Sarkisian, this is where you see how good of a play caller is he. Because I'm not saying they have no chance here. I think it's completely fair for them to be favored, knowing the talent that's on this roster. What I really need to see here, if you're a Texas fan or if you're a Sarkisian believer, is saying, if you are the play caller that people say that you are, you find ways to win. You find ways to correct the course. You find ways to jumpstart the car. It has not been working, and we are in the second week of October. We need to do something different. If it's taking the ball out of Arch's hands, it's taking the ball out of Arch's hands. You've already gone to the media saying, why is everyone comparing us? You know, how many other teams could go play Ohio State and Florida? Shut up. I thought about making that a subject. You're Texas. You have all the talent and resources in the world that you want. The same thing that people make fun of Texas A&M is the same thing you could apply here. You have all the talent and resources in the world to get the damn job done. Get the damn job done against Oklahoma, your top rival. Because if you end up having 3 losses, you still have, at that point, Mississippi State's on the board, Vanderbilt's on the board, Georgia's on the board, and Texas A&M's on the board. Putting up a performance like that against Florida, the floodgates open for the rest of the season. But if you're able to bounce back and prove why they pay you and change this offense, get it running, it doesn't even have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be 40 points. It's got to be 21, 28 points that you feel confident in. And it's not like every first down you're scratching and clawing for some sort of consistency. That's what I want to see from Steve Sarkisian in this offense. Now, am I going to bet on it? No. I'm picking Oklahoma to win. Because I believe Brent Venables and I believe in this team to keep their momentum going. I think John Mateer is going to play. It's probably not going to be at 100%, but I think it's going to be just enough. And Sarkisian's got to show me. Outright, he's got to show me.